I'm okay having to look at this in this, in this Atlantic League situation.
Okay, cool. My other question is about Jake McGee. And I probably should have asked you this during the Giants series. He's off to a terrific start with them, and he's primarily become a fastball pitcher again, like he was back in Tampa. Do you think it's a matter of him finally fully being healthy? I know he had a lot of knee pain and issues during much of his time in Colorado. And I don't know if not asking for inside info or anything, but do you think that could be a component as to why he's pitching so well for San Francisco?
I think that's definitely part of it. I think there's probably a lot of things that are adding up for Jake, and health might be, completely, a big part of it. I know that, I don't think he's pitching with a knee brace now. I know that he did with us. The knee was troublesome. I think last year in LA, I think he wore a brace at times. I'd have to, go back and check, but, it looks as though his velocity is back to where it was, I think in the early years of him being a Rocky. And you're right, it's primarily a fastball attack. And I think more than anything, because of maybe the increased velocity, maybe the overall body's feeling better, and the overall success that he had with the Dodgers and now, with the Giants is giving him a great deal of confidence just, to pump that fastball with the extra velo he has and to really attack hitters. I think that was, something with us is, his control and command was a little variable. I think the walk rate was always pretty good. There wasn't a lot of walks, and there was, the strikeout rate was pretty solid, but the overall stuff, was maybe down a little bit with us in 18 and 19.
Okay, one more from me. You've talked quite a bit about CJ Cron, your belief he's eventually going to get going. Right. Charlie's scuffing a little bit too. We know his track record. Do you think Charlie is just missing? Is he just an early season funk? What can you tell us about Charlie?
Yeah, well, I think there's a few guys. We haven't clicked on all cylinders with a number of our position players, as you know. And we've talked about that. I mean, Mac being one guy who's been off to a good start. And, Tappy is hovering. Well, he was hovering around 300 up until last night. With some pretty good games the last few games. But as it relates to Chuck, I think that he's just anytime that you're seeing foul balls from Chuck, that just means his timing's off just a little bit, and whether he's out front of a pitch and pulling it foul, or maybe just a tick late and fouling it straight back, or a little bit potentially over their dugout. That tells me that his timing's off. But I see bat speed, I see pitch recognition. I just see timing just a little bit off. And when your timing's off, you're not gonna see consistently hard hit balls put in play.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Nate Broke.
Yeah, hey, buddy. To follow up on Patrick, some of the baseball's efforts to, like you said, put the ball in play, get away from the true outcomes. When we've talked, can you correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe expand on this? I seem to remember when we've talked to you about this before that it's sort of your belief that that baseball has a way of correcting itself.
Yes.
Like, the trend will go back to people putting the ball in play naturally as an advantage against so many strikeouts. And, and for instance,
that's still a belief in mine. And that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over a couple year period. It happens over time, and it starts with amateur players. It starts with high school kids, travel ball kids now, collegiate level, minor league level. I think there'll be a correction. I don't think cyclical is a word. I think it's more of an adjustment that we made by teams and players as it relates to putting the ball in play, cutting the strikeouts down, definitely, I think will correct itself unless, we continue to see this trend of better stuff. And that's what, gives me a little bit of pause on this, is that, where is the velocity going with our pitchers? Where are the velocities with the secondary pitches going? We've seen an increase, over the last 15 years, and then most recently, I think the last 5 years, where, scouting scales, scouting grades have changed, based on velocities and, sliders, curveballs, quality of the velocities of. That's what gives me pause, whether these numbers are going to continue to climb because of the athlete that is, coming into all sports, the bigger, stronger, faster. That's where I have a little bit of pause. Where's the athlete going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What is an average fastball going to look like 10 years from now? Because we've seen a big jump. There's no doubt about it in the last 5 years.
So just like philosophically speaking, because this, I don't even know how you would quantify this, but do you think hitters, just on a basic level, that hitters can't eventually keep up with the?
Well, it's hard to hit anyway, right? It's one of the hardest things to do in all the sports. And I'm not sure whether, physically you can consistently catch up to, fastballs that are approaching 100 miles an hour. And if you have secondary pitches, in the low 90s, that's my concern, whether you can physically do it.
Gotcha. It's fascinating. Thank you, buddy.
Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple along those lines, buddy. They tested some college pitchers at different distances, and it seemed like it didn't change their mechanics. But if you were pitching somewhere and they set the mound at 61 feet 6 inches, would you know it right there on the mound? Would you know it and feel it?
Yeah, I would know it. Yeah, you would definitely know it. You might not know it on your fastball, but you would know it on your breaking pitches. You'd probably see a little bit of a result on your changeup. It depends on, the type of changeup you have, but you would definitely know it, watching the end of your slider, the end of your curveball, the end of your slurve. You would definitely notice a difference, and that would require a different release point. Your delivery wouldn't change. Your release point would have to be readjusted.
Yeah, I would imagine too, that would probably give away the pitch. So that would make it a little bit easier.
It would be, the pitch would be, you'd be able to, as a hitter, you'd be able to, wait just a little bit longer because you got another foot to watch the ball.
Also, the other rule, the one that you talked about, and then I don't know if it was you or Jason Stark or both of you, but the idea of the double hook, the DH coming out when the starting pitcher, could that, even without changing the mound, kind of revolutionize the game to where maybe the pitcher isn't out there just blowing out early in a game because he has to go deeper for his team?
Well, it really puts an emphasis on, starters being able to throw longer, right, in a ball game to make sure that there's at least a couple at bats from a big bat. The only thing that worried me a little bit is that, whether that makes the strong get stronger and the weak get weaker, right? If you have a strong team, usually that team has a pretty strong rotation. And does it help that team more, than, the balance of how much does it does it weaken a weaker team with a lesser rotation against a team with a really strong rotation? You know, good teams usually have strong rotations, and here it is. They're able to keep that big bat maybe in there another at bat longer than a team that might be, you know, in a little cycle of not having a good rotation, and their guy get knocked out, and you lose that bat, and you're going up against, you know, a good team that gets, you know, potentially 3 at bats with a, you know, with a good starting pitcher with a DH, and a team with a poor rotation. You know, they're at a disadvantage because maybe they only got, you know, 1 at bat. I mean, that's the only thing that bothers me a little bit about this, is that, you know, does it make the strong stronger and the weak weaker?
Oh,
In that scenario, which I think common sense tells me it does.
okay.
But it does incentivize, you know, pitchers, you know, conditioned to throw more pitches, you know, organizations building starting pitching to, you know, to throw more innings, to get more outs, you know, to keep that bat in the lineup.
Well, I guess philosophically, does it work to how you manage? Because you look at the innings pitched, I think last season, and also back in 18, you guys were up at the top of the league, where maybe actually that could give you an advantage as opposed to maybe a team with more money.
Yeah, well, no, it gives the team advantage with a good rotation. And usually teams that are good have good rotation.
Hey,
Right. I mean, I feel, you know, for us, I think right now, presently, I think we'd be fine because I like our group of starters. I think they're, you know, they're built to be durable. They're built to get a lot of outs. Other rotations, maybe not so much.
okay. Hey, as far as this team is concerned, first road trip, it's early, but with you guys struggling a bit out of the gate, you could say it's a little bit of a stress point. How much do you watch, especially your younger guys, or even the guys that are kind of entering the middle of their careers, to see who your leaders are, see who handles the stress better?
Well, we watch all our guys. I think that, you know, this group of players, I know that you guys haven't been around them, you know, on a personal level, but you guys know them well enough to know what type of people they are, and you know, the care factor that they have for this club. You know, I worry about them not, you know, getting, you know, too discouraged too early, because it's a long year. It truly is. And we have some guys who are off to slow starts, and I don't want them to beat themselves up and have that affect their performance. You know, we feel that a lot of guys are going to, you know, end up, you know, doing what they do, which, you know, I think for them is, you know, their own big league performance. I just don't want them to, you know, beat themselves up to the point where it's affecting their performance. And there's a fine line there.
Okay, and hey, just one thing on McMahon, we've seen some power out of him, and the attitude that he's looking for those opportunities to really drive a ball. What is the growth factor that you've seen in him, even from spring training to now?
Yeah, I think we've seen growth in Mac every year. I think now we're starting to see some signs with his swing, you know, his at bats that lead us to believe closer to, you know, fulfilling the potential that I think Mac knows he has, and what we think he has. So, and it takes time. I think he has just under 1,000 at bats. And usually for me, it's, you know, that 1,000 to 1,500 level of at bats when a guy really starts to get what he needs to do with his swing, with his mechanics, with his approach, with his thought process, you know, to really put his skill set to use. And I think Mac's getting to that point.
And final follow up with Mac, in addition to the home runs we've seen, I think the last couple of games, there was that drive in San Francisco that moved the runners. There was the ground ball last night, moved the runners. I mean, are you seeing that thought process and those type of at bats increase?
Yeah. Well, you know, I thought the at bat in San Francisco was a good one. Again, he drove that ball, moved the runners to second and third with, you know, there were no outs when he got him over in a close game. yeah, what we need from all our guys, Mac included, is that success rate of situational hitting. Mac did his job, and then, Josh had a tough punch out, and Hilliard punched out after that. But again, as a group, we have to have a success rate of situational hitting, and I think our guys understand that. Are we going to be 100%? No, but the percentage rate of success has to be, for me, well over 60. Beyond that, that's sort of league average. But Mac is starting to understand, his game and how it relates to helping us win, and he's doing it, and he's conscious of it, which is great.
Thanks, buddy.
Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, buddy, I wanted to ask you a quick question about Austin Gomber. It's a small sample size and it's early, but he's among the league leaders in the least hard hit whenever ball's put into play. Is that mixing pitches, location? What are you seeing that's contributing to that?
Yeah, a couple of things I agree with. It's early, but it is a good sign. I like that. The walks are a little high, Kevin. We got to bring those down. But, I think it's more of a factor of, his mix of pitches. He's got 4, I feel, quality major league pitchers. The fastball has enough velocity. He's able to move it around the strike zone. The hook, the curveball is well above average pitch. It's got great spin, good depth to it. It's big. He's got to be able to throw that for a called strike, and he's got to get some swings on it. The change, I think, is developing. It's not, to the point where he feels super comfortable with it, but I think he's gaining confidence in it. And his little slider cutter is a quality pitch too. So I think his mix of pitches is probably the reason why you're seeing not a lot of hard hit balls, less exit velocity, whatever in these 2 starts. But the potential's in there to retain those sorts of numbers.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Go ahead, Drew.
Hey, buddy, you got a comp on Dustin May from what you've seen thus far?
Dustin May. Geez, let me see. Tall, thin, big arm, big sinker, big velocity. Maybe a little bit of Kevin Brown, maybe.
I thought you may go there.
Yeah, a little bit of Kevin Brown. I think Kevin was, maybe a little bit more slider, maybe a few more sliders than May, but it's that tall, lean, moving fastball, running fastball. When it's down, it sinks. It's tough to dig out when it's low in the strike zone, and the slider is developing. I think it took a while for Kevin to develop his his mix of the heavy sinker, hard fastball with a slider. This guy's throwing a little bit now of trying to throw a little bit of a straighter fastball that cuts. We can call it a cutter to go along with that. More of a breaking ball type slider, but I'd say Kevin Brown probably stuff-wise is a comp.
Where's he missing his bats more this year than a year ago?
I think, both sides of the plate command. I think last year it was more sort of arm side into the righty, away to the lefty. Heavy doses of that. I think he's more proficient now of getting in on lefties and throwing that fastball away to righties and keeping it on the outside corner and not having it come back to the middle. So I think the fastball command is probably better.
Gotcha. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
All right, last one with Tracy.
Buddy, on Gomber, you hear different things, you read reports, but to actually see him in action and to see him command those 4 pitches, has that been more than you might have anticipated?
Well, just from watching video and then, getting to know him, each and every day in spring training and then through these first 2 starts, I think that, I think there's room to grow there as a pitcher as far as, his control and command. I think there's upside there to improve on that, which will make him a better pitcher. I think we've seen in these 2 starts a little bit of, especially the first one, a little bit of too variable command and control. He reeled it in a little bit better in San Francisco on their opening day on Thursday. I think for him that, his challenge is to, get the ball in the strike zone a little bit more consistently, because I think the stuff plays. And I like the fact that in San Francisco, the changeup was much better. He had more confidence in it, because I think that's gonna help his fastball.
Thank you.
Okay.